So a big political embarrassment for the BJP in Uttarakhand, but the party still maintaining that it was not a mistake. In fact, Minister of Home Affairs Kiran Rijiju telling NDTV that this crisis is a creation of the Congress, not that of the BJP, moving the Supreme Court tomorrow to challenge what has happened today. Introducing our panel today from the Congress, J.V. Shergill is in the studio. From the BJP, GVL Narasimha Rao is with us. And of course, Dushyant Dave, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Prashant Bhushan, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, are also with us. GVL Narasimha Rao, why the persistent perusal of this president's rule? You've seen the strong words from the Uttarakhand High Court today, actually talking about how such dissolution of democratically elected governments creates cynicism among people. Why wouldn't the BJP just call it quits? Why are you continuing to fight this? Let the faisla be taken on the floor of the House.
Barkha, this is not a personal fight. One has to keep in context when media makes these comments. I think on 91 occasions, it was the Congress governments which dismissed state governments. So this is not, this government has really not done anything which is out of the ordinary. And we have used this with extreme caution and in very rarest of rare cases. Indira Gandhi had imposed president's rule on 51 occasions when she was the Prime Minister.
I agree, but does the BJP want to be like Indira Gandhi? I agree with you, but does the BJP want to be like Indira Gandhi?
No. No, but we think this was a fit case. That's our opinion even now. Our opinion doesn't change. But certainly, the Honorable High Court has given a judgment, and we certainly defer to the judgment. But certainly, this Uttarakhand was a fit case. There are a lot of questions that really remain still unanswered.
Okay.
We certainly hope this judgment could be reviewed.
Now, before I get the Congress to respond, I just want to get a legal perspective from Dushyant and Prashant. Dushyant Dave, how do you see this? Because the disqualification of the 9 Congress MLAs has been upheld by the High Court. There's a floor test that the court has ordered. The Supreme Court could reverse all of this. But there are also questions against the Congress about horse trading, and we'll put that to Harish Rawat in a moment from now. But your comments, Dushyant.
Well, Barkha, I think let the nation know one thing, that this is a victory of the Constitution. This is a victory for the democracy. This is really the separation of power theory in making. And this is really a great tribute to the judiciary.
Okay.
This is a defeat of the arbitrariness. This is a defeat for the petty politics that the political parties play. I do agree with Mr. Rao that Mrs. Gandhi imposed it many times, but then Mrs. Gandhi didn't respect the Constitution. Mr. Modi and BJP promised us that they will respect the Constitution. They failed to do so. So the High Court has answered them. I think this is one of the most beautiful moments in the history of modern India, where the High Court has really stood its ground and struck down the presidential proclamation, which was on the basis of the cabinet's advice. So I think every citizen who respects citizens, they must really be rejoicing tonight.
Let me just get a quick comment from Harish Rawat. Harish Rawat was, of course, the Chief Minister when his entire government unraveled. He will now have to face a floor test. Mr. Rawat, the fact of the matter is, legally the victory is yours today, but politically there are questions. You were accused in a sting operation of trying to buy the support of MLAs. There was that CD. There is the question of factionalism in your party. Vijay Bahuguna is lashing out at the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. The factionalism in the Congress is the Congress's problem, not the BJP's. How will you resolve that? How do you know you have the numbers?
बरखा जी, आपने एक साथ कई सवाल दाग दिए हैं। मैं पहली बात तो आपसे ये कहना चाहूँगा कि ये मेरी जीत नहीं है, बल्कि ये सारी लोकतांत्रिक और धर्मनिरपेक्ष ताकतों की जीत है, जो सहिष्णुतावादी ताकतें हैं उनकी जीत है, और हमारी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रणाली है, संवैधानिक प्रणाली है, ये न्यायिक प्रणाली है, ये उसकी जीत है। और यदि ये किसी को मैं इस जीत का सबसे बड़ा श्रेय देना चाहूँगा तो उत्तराखंड के हमारे भाई बहन हैं, हमारे गाड़ गधेरे गांव गरीब लोग हैं, और ये उत्तराखंडियत की जीत है कुल मिलाकर के जो है।
पर आपने मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दिया रावत जी, आपने मेरे सवाल का जवाब नहीं दिया कि पार्टी में फैक्शनलिज्म
जो मैं एक बरखा जी, आप तो बहुत ही एक्सपीरियंस्ड, बहुत सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट हैं। मैं आपसे एक बात जानना चाहता हूं, आपने पूरी पार्लियामेंट्री जितने हमारे बिल्स इत्यादि की हिस्ट्री है वो सबको देखा है, नज़दीक से इमर्ज होते देखा है। 10th शेड्यूल के अंदर जो प्रोविजन लाए गए राजीव गांधी जी के समय में, देन उसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट करके 2/3 मेंबरशिप आवश्यक बनाई गई कि यदि कोई डिसेंट है, आप पार्टी से अलग निकलना चाहते हैं तो आप कम से कम 2/3 करें। तो क्यों किया गया? वो इसलिए किया गया कि लोग जो है पार्टी के अंदर ही जो है अपनी समस्याओं का समाधान ढूंढें, और उसके लिए पार्टीज में अलग अलग फोरम हैं। और यदि ये होने लग जाए कि 2 विधायक 4 विधायक कभी किसी मुख्यमंत्री से नाराज हो जाएं, मंत्री से नाराज हो जाएं, तो फिर राजनीतिक स्टेबिलिटी कहां रहेगी? यदि उत्तराखंड में जिस तरीके से दल बदल करवाया गया सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने,
वो दल बदल में आपको भी आरोपी, आपके खिलाफ भी एलिगेशन थी रावत जी, आपके खिलाफ भी एलिगेशन थी कि आपने भी जोड़ तोड़ करने की कोशिश की, एक स्टिंग ऑपरेशन था, वो राजनीतिक जवाब आपको देना होगा।
मैं बरखा जी नहीं बरखा जी, मैं भी उसका राजनीतिक जवाब भी दूंगा और एक बहन के नाते आपके सवाल का भी जवाब दूंगा।
मिस्टर रावत जो बीजेपी की प्रवक्ता है वो आपसे एक पॉइंट कहना चाहते हैं। वन मिनट जीवीएल राव, व्हाट वुड बी योर क्वेश्चन टू हरीश रावत?
अभी एक सेकंड पहले मैं आपके पॉइंट्स का जवाब दे दूं।
चले जल्दी से सर, टाइम कम है। एक मिनट, जीवीएल राव, योर क्वेश्चन टू हरीश रावत।
No, I want to ask him, it's because there is no internal democracy in the Congress party. Your own top leaders and MLAs and ex-chief minister could not get an audience with your vice president and president. I think you have this internal situation. This could happen again with you in some other state. And I want to make this prediction. The Congress could face the same problem in every state that it is in power. Because it's unable to hold its own leadership. It's unable to satisfy its own leadership.
One thing I would like to make very clear, that Congress is capable of managing its own house, and we don't need any lesson from BJP. We don't want to learn anything from you, your experience, because in your party, you are a regimented party. You are being governed by
आप अपने experience से सीखिए,
by organization who is a distant authority sitting in the Nagpur. You are talking about the democratic values.
Okay.
How can I accept this?
Okay, Harish Rawat, let's hear from the lawyer. Let's hear from Prashant Bhushan and Dushyant Dave.
But as long Barkha ji, your question is concerned, मैं आपसे एक बात कहना चाहता हूँ कि क्या किसी पार्टी के अंदर थोड़ा असंतोष हो, उस असंतोष के अंदर केंद्र सरकार को वहाँ डिफेक्शन करवा देना चाहिए।
मैं कह रही हूँ दो अलग मुद्दे हैं रावत जी, यहाँ दो अलग मुद्दे हैं। The imposition of president's rule is one debate, but the allegation against you of horse trading and the factionalism in the Congress is another debate. ये दो हमें अलग करने पड़ेंगे। We have to separate these two issues.
Now Barkha ji.
Yes, I want to get Prashant Bhushan and Dushyant in. Harish Rawat, you can respond to them. Then एक मिनट रावत साहब, एक मिनट,
please, kindly Barkha ji, bear with me, kindly let me make clear कि एक बात करिए, मैं आपसे भी प्रशांत जी से भी सबसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि जो वह तथाकथित फरेबी सीडी दिखाई जा रही है, बराए मेहरबानी उस पूरी सीडी को देख लीजिए। और बरखा जी, आपको और इससे पहले मैंने रजत जी से बात की और प्रशांत जी को, मैं तीनों लोगों को नियुक्त करना चाहता हूं। यदि उसके अंदर आपको यह न लगे कि एक चीफ मिनिस्टर के ऊपर कुछ चीजें ठूसी जा रही हैं, कोई व्यक्ति खुद ही प्रपोज कर रहा है, कह रहा है कि बिकने के लिए कुछ तैयार हैं, इतने में खरीद लीजिए, उनकी बोली भी लगा रहा है और उसके बाद कह रहा है रुपयों का इंतजाम भी मैं कर दूंगा, और एक व्यक्ति गरीब की तरीके से कह रहा है मेरे पास तो कुछ नहीं है देने के लिए, बाबा मेरा पल्ला छूटो, फिर देखेंगे जब 29 तारीख को बहुमत सिद्ध हो जाएगा उसके बाद देखने का काम करेंगे। यदि आपको उसके बाद भी लगता है कि वास्तव में मैं खरीद फरोख्त कर रहा था, तो मैं आपके चैनल पर आकर के सारे देश से माफी मांग लूंगा।
चले प्रशांत भूषण, डू वी नीड टू लुक एट द पॉलिटिकल इशू of the allegations against the Rawat government and factionalism separately from the imposition of President's rule?
Absolutely. And I first want to join Dushyant in saluting the Uttarakhand High Court to have given such a bold and clear judgment. This is what we expect from the judiciary. The judiciary is expected to play the role of an independent watchdog over the constitution and prevent the throttling of democracy when it sees it. In the case of Uttarakhand, the BJP is saying three things. They are saying firstly that the vote on account or the budget was not passed properly because the division was not called, it would have fallen. Secondly, they are saying that the speaker has wrongly disqualified these 9 people. Now these two things firstly are contradictory. If the budget had not been passed because these 9 rebel MLAs voted against the motion, then these 9 MLAs stand to be disqualified, and they were rightly disqualified by the speaker. However, if they had voted against the budget, then the government at that time would have fallen, and thereafter they ought to have been disqualified, which would have left the Rawat government still with a majority after the disqualification of those 9 people. What the BJP did was, and this is what they have been doing everywhere, they are acting in a manner, they are abusing and misusing their authority in the central government and the governors in order to first engineer some defections, thereafter throttle the Anti-Defection Act by imposing president's rule, thereafter installing their own government, their own speaker, and then continuing with that government without allowing the Anti-Defection Act to take effect. This is clearly the murder of the constitution and the murder of democracy. And the High Court has rightly interfered with the imposition of President's rule, and I salute the High Court for what it has done.
Dushyant, do you want to add to that? You've heard Harish Rawat. You know, the fact of the matter is the BJP is arguing that if you can't keep your own house in order, why blame us? And the Congress will at some point, you know, while winning this victory legally, have to confront the question of, you know, what a Vijay Bahuguna has said about Rahul Gandhi's leadership, for example.
Well, I have 3 things to say. One is that under our constitutional scheme, nobody is imperio imperium. Nobody is above the constitution. And the High Court's judgment has established that, and rightly so. Secondly, BJP, I think, is a national party. It must realize that it faced defeat in Delhi and in Bihar, and this is hardly the way to capture the states. Third most important aspect is that BJP should have known the history of Mr. Bahuguna. If BJP was a responsible party and it promised clean politics, I think it should have thought many times before touching Mr. Bahuguna and the other disgruntled MLAs. So I personally feel that the whole exercise has been carried out by BJP in a completely thoughtless process. But then what do you expect out of BJP if its president is Mr. Amit Shah, who really does not care ultimately for any kind of decency or morality in politics? All that he cares for is how to grab power.
I must let GVL Rao come in on that. GVL Rao, go ahead, and then Harish Rawat.
It's a very sad commentary, Barkha. As a citizen, forget as a lawyer, I feel extremely sad that BJP has resorted to this means.
GVL Rao, then Javeer, and then Harish Rawat gets the last word. Yeah, GVL Rao.
No, but Mr. Dushyant Dave wants to be the 3rd Congress spokesperson on this panel by directly taking political sides and simply
I was
not,
the first one to say that Manmohan Singh should be
So
prosecuted.
you can't. I don't grudge you at all. Don't grudge you at all. You want to be in the company of Kapil Sibal, Abhishek Manu Singhvi. I think you have every right to do so. Please do not make them abuse your role in the panel as a neutral observer and make highly loaded political comments. That's all. That's my submission. Then I find the whole thing. I'm not a lawyer like you have legal experts on your panel, but I find this position contradictory. How can you, if the court is of the view, if they have contended, if they have accepted the petitioner Mr. Rawat's view that the finance bill had passed in the assembly, on what basis are these MLA being disqualified? Which part of the law allows disqualification of MLAs who have not violated the whip of the party? I think these two positions are completely irreconcilable.
Okay,
I would like to get legal experts and talk about the constitution.
Let Prashant answer that, and then let Prashant answer that. Yeah, Prashant, go ahead. Prashant,
please answer it legally. Please answer in a legal way.
Yes. Though the Anti-Defection Act says that you get disqualified if you violate the whip or if you voluntarily leave the party. The Supreme Court has said in a judgment that voluntarily leaving the party can be judged from your conduct. Therefore, if you are going along with the BJP to the governor and pledging support to the BJP and saying that we are no longer with the Congress party, from that conduct the speaker can disqualify
they did not say
these people according to that Supreme Court judgment. So therefore
that's your
and in any
convenient,
case, if you
convenient
are
interpretation.
aggrieved, if you are
Did they
aggrieved by
ever
the
resign?
speaker's decision,
Did they
you
ever
have
resign from the
you have
Congress
the right
party?
to challenge.
Did they say we are not with the Congress
You
party?
have the right to.
Let me put a political...
Did they
See,
voluntarily resign?
you have the right to challenge the speaker's decision in the High Court,
I want
which
to
you
say
could have
something.
done.
Let me put
Instead
a political
of that,
question
you
to Harish
directly
Rawat,
impose
and we can
President's
thank him then
rule.
and take last comments from all of you. Harish Rawat, एक आखिरी सवाल आपसे. How confident are you of winning on the 29th, and would that not entail a certain amount of horse trading? उसी allegation पे दोबारा आ जाते हैं वापस. हरीश रावत.
देखिए, पहली बात तो यह है कि हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग का जो हम पर आरोप लगाया गया है वो दैट इज इंजीनियर्ड एंड मैन्युफैक्चर्ड बाय बीजेपी. आई हैव नथिंग टू डू विद दैट. और मैंने फिर भी कह रहा हूं, मैं एक बार वो सीडी को पूरे देश को आप दिखा लीजिए बरखा जी, और उसके बाद यदि आपको लगता है कि रियल में जो है मैंने कोई क्राइम किया है तो मैं आपके चैनल पर आकर के पूरे देश से माफी मांगने के लिए तैयार हूं. लेकिन पूरी सीडी देखने के बाद जो है जो तथाकथित है वो बिल्कुल फरेबी सीडी है, और उसके आधार पर एक कंक्लूजन निकाल दिया गया. और फिर सीडीज के आधार पर यदि स्टिंग के आधार पर सरकारें जाने लग जाएंगी तो फिर मैं समझता हूं आने वाले समय के अंदर राज्यों के अंदर हर 3 महीने के बाद आप सरकारों को जाते हुए देखेंगे. और फिर जानी है तो रमन सिंह की सरकार क्यों नहीं जाएगी, या पहले अमित शाह और
नहीं सर, रावत जी, एक दो अलग बातें आप कंफ्यूज कर रहे हैं. There is the constitutional aspect, but there is stings are a legitimate form of journalism or you know.
If I have committed some sin, I should be punished. I should be punished. But by mere propaganda unleashed by BJP, one cannot say that you have committed this sin.
Okay, Harish Rawat, you're of course making a pitch to
Harish ji, people will punish.
Second.
Acha, I'm out of time. I will thank Harish Rawat.
राव साहब, अपने साथियों को कहिए ना, यदि इतनी ताकत है तो आपने पहले कुल्हाड़ा उठा करके हमारी सरकार को बर्खास्त कर दिया था. आप विधानसभा भी भंग कर दीजिए ना, आइए ना चुनाव में. क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं, क्यों नहीं हिम्मत कर रहे हैं? जब हरीश रावत ने इतनी गलत सरकार दी है तो आप क्यों रहे?
Let's see what happens next.
आप तो सर्वशक्तिशाली हैं ना, आप मैं कह रहा हूं आप तो सर्वशक्तिशाली हैं ना. आपने पहले 356 लगा दी, आप अब विधानसभा भी
अब चलिए रावत जी, you have to face a floor test and the Supreme Court before that, what it decides. Thank you so much Harish Rawat for joining us on the buck stops here. Now we're taking last comments from our panel. I will start with you, Dushyant Dave.
Let me say one thing, Barkha, especially to Mr. Rao, that I don't hold a brief for Congress party. In fact, I was offered a brief in this very case on behalf of the governor of the state, and also on behalf of the disqualified MLAs. I declined both the briefs. If they did not have confidence in my independence, they would not have offered me the brief. Mr. Rao should know that better. I was one of those few people who attacked the Congress party viciously, including Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in 2G and Colgate. So I don't need to establish my credentials to likes of Mr. Rao. But let me say one thing very categorically, that this saga really is an extremely sorry state of affairs. I don't think BJP needs this. BJP today is in power in the center. Prime Minister Modi has got a mandate of a large section of the society from the country. They don't need this kind of a power. So that's really something which really is important, that you do not destroy the constitutional ethos, constitutional morality for short-term gains. And that's what they tried to do, and I'm happy that Congress has, the High Court has really paid it back to them.
Now, Mr. Rao, you said there were two Congress spokespeople on the panel. Actually, Javeer hasn't been able to open his mouth through the whole show because Mr. Rawat unexpectedly joined us. So I'll allow Javeer.
He was compensated by.
No, but that's not fair. I'm just making the point that Mr. Rawat unexpectedly joined us. We're glad that he did. Javeer, I'll allow you a quick comment there.
I think 2 comments. I think Barkha, High Court has merely upheld the principle of Satyameva Jayate, Yato Dharma Stata Jaya. Where there is dharma, there is victory. High Court has sent a strong message.
But you still have to go through the Supreme Court.
We will go through. I am talking about today. High Court has sent a strong message to the BJP that their hunger of power cannot swallow the rule of law. Till date, High Court has exposed their modus of operandi of hijacking assemblies through backdoor. It's a victory of people's power over BJP's money and muscle power.
Okay, Prashant Bhushan, last comments, and GVL Rao can take the last word. Yeah.
Apart from saluting the High Court again for doing what the judiciary is expected to do and supposed to do, I want to say that the time has come, this whole episode shows that the time has come to think of the Speaker and the Governor as truly neutral persons, not partisan persons as they presently are.
That's a good
point. Today the Speaker is usually the nominee of the ruling party. The Governor is the nominee of the central government. He is removable by the central government at will, and therefore he acts according to whatever the central government wants him to say. The time has come for us to think of truly, totally independent people as governors and totally independent people as speakers, just like the election commission.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. GVL Rao, very quickly wrap this up for us.
I think this is not the last word on this particular case. We think the case for imposition was very, very strong, but certainly I think the Supreme Court, as always, has the final word on such matters. So let's see what happens. As far as politics of this is concerned, I think the Congress party must set its own house in order rather than trying to cry a victory, which clearly this is a Pyrrhic victory. This is certainly, this actually manifests the Congress party's internal troubles and crumbling of the Congress party across the country. I cannot see this 356 being stopped here because Congress is in shambles in most of
Are you saying
for sake of political opportunism, don't arm twist the constitution of this country.
Okay, we leave it here. But GVL Rao, are you saying you're thinking of using 356 in other states? That last comment, you said this is not the last time you see.
No, I'm saying...
Of course, they have lost faith in electoral process after Bihar and Delhi.
As long
this
as
is their backdoor
okay, that's it. I'm out of
if
time.
the Congress party cannot keep its house in order, I think they cannot rely on judiciary to bail them out if their party breaks like this. I think the real lesson for the Congress party is keep your house in order so that there is no room for any such.
You have an egg on your political face today, GVLG. You have an egg on your political face.
Okay, that's it. That's it. GVL Rao, Javeer Shergill, Prashant Bhushan, Dushyant Dave. Thank you so much for joining us on the Buck Stops here. Moving on now to our other big political story on the program tonight, the curious case of Colonel Shrikant Purohit, who was, of course, initially implicated in both the Samjhauta Express blast and the Malegaon blast of 2008. Then earlier this week, the NIA chief went on record to say that Colonel Purohit was not an accused in the Samjhauta blast. And so far, of course, in the Malegaon 2008 blast, the NIA has not filed a charge sheet. Meanwhile, in another twist to the case, two different witnesses earlier this month have given detailed testimonies giving Colonel Purohit a clean chit, retracting their earlier testimonies. NDTV's Tejas Mehta has exclusively accessed these two hostile witnesses, Yashpal Badana and RP Singh. Tejas, what are the details?
Well, Barkha, we have just accessed both these documents which come under section 164 of the CRPC. It is given before a magistrate, so the value, of course, is far more than what is given to any investigating agency. Now, these two accused, Yashpal Badana, he's number 79, he's a witness, in the Malegaon blast case, and RP Singh, he's witness number 112, he's also in the Malegaon case and in the Samjhauta blast case. Now, both of them were told by the ATS to have, in the statements recorded by the ATS, they were supposed to have attended meetings which took place of the Abhinav Bharat, not only in Faridabad, also in Bhopal, and they were, they were aware of the entire conspiracy. They had met Colonel Purohit, Pragya, Sadhvi Pragya, and all the other players in the entire blast.
That was their original statement, but now they have retracted those statements. They have gone back on those testimonies and denied those testimonies.
Now. Exactly. Now they have said, you have Yashpal Badana who is saying on the fourth day the ATS was recording my me to tell in court that Shankaracharya, that is Dayanand Pandey, one of the accused, was inciting Hindus against Muslims, that he would show such videos too. They told me if I didn't say this, then I would also be involved in the case. They took me to Bhopal and told me that when I give a
accusing the anti-terror, he's accusing the ATS of pressurizing him and forcing him to make these accusations.
Exactly. That's what he says in the statement which he has given now to the Patiala House Court. He also said that all this was written by them. I wasn't given a copy of my statement. Now the NIA has read out the statement to me, and my first statement is baseless. I never went to Bhopal, never attended any meeting. Look at the statement of RP Singh retracting what he has said earlier. He now says at the meetings of Abhinav Bharat in Faridabad and Bhopal, no one discussed about blasting bombs or about killing people or sparking riots. I never said in any of my statements before anything about blasting bombs. So very clearly both of them have retracted. Of course, now this entire procedure has to happen in court because the trial hasn't really begun. The charge sheet by the ATS has been filed. The question is, will now the NIA file a fresh charge sheet, and will of course they maintain their stance in the court? That of course will be the final retraction of their statements. But of course we did speak to the lawyers of the accused. They are elated. The public prosecutor of course keeping tight-lipped, but they did mention that this doesn't augur really well. Barkha?
Right, and of course, Tejas, along with Captain Nitin Joshi, Yashpal Badana and RP Singh's retractions that you have accessed, make it at least 3 detailed retractions, 3 hostile witnesses, all actually making a case for Colonel Purohit and leading Colonel Purohit's supporters to say that he was not guilty, but he was in fact framed. And that is, of course, the main debate of the buck stops here tonight. Tejas Mehta, thank you so much. Tejas exclusively accessing detailed retractions by 2 witnesses, key witnesses, Yashpal Badana and RP Singh. Let's introduce our panel now. We'll also hear from a moment from Minister of State for Home, Kiran Rijiju, on how the government is viewing these retractions. But let's get on the program. Sudhanshu Trivedi, senior leader of the BJP, is with us. Jaiveer Shergill, a spokesperson of the Congress, is with us. Milind Joshi Rao, spokesperson of the Abhinav Bharat, that is of course the group that has been implicated in these cases, but they have always been arguing that they've been framed. And Rana Ayub, senior journalist who spent many years actually investigating the Malegaon blasts in particular. Sudhanshu Trivedi, your first comments. It could of course be argued that these are hostile witnesses, and witnesses turning hostile do not necessarily prove innocence or guilt. They simply prove that witnesses, retracted what they said earlier. And I must also point out to you, Sudhanshu, that in this same month of April, we have the curious case of NIA witness testimonies recorded before a magistrate going missing from an NIA court, which also makes this retraction seem extremely suspicious.
Barkha, on the technical grounds, the investigating agencies and lawyers can do a lot of discussion. But DG NIA has made it very clear that in Samjhauta Express case, Colonel Purohit was never an accused. So there is no question of being calling him that he has been cleared off.
Yes.
But you look at the instance, how the entire things have happened. All those 4 or 5 cases of the so-called saffron terror, all in these cases were shifted to NIA in 2011.
Yes.
In most of the cases, the charge sheets were done in 2011. But the saffron terror phrase was first used by P. Chidambaram in the proceedings of Rajya Sabha in December 2009. In July 2010, Rahul Gandhi, in a party hosted by US Ambassador David Melford in the honor of Hillary Clinton, says that LET is not that much problem, that the big problem is Hindu terror. And in the end of 2010, Digvijay Singh goes to Mumbai and inaugurates a book which says that 2611 is an RSS conspiracy. It means the so-called Hindu terror is not the diagnosis of the problem. Rather than it seems that it was a thesis on which a premise was built up, because prior to NIA giving any investigative conclusion, the senior leaders of Congress have started using this phrase. So if you look at the entire political perspective, there is a serious doubt which is created right from Ishrat Jahan case to Malegaon case, even to Samjhauta Express case, in which the US agencies were categorically saying that this is the Pakistani angle.
So what is your accusation? You're saying the Congress fabricated all these cases, but may I point out to you in 2013, it was RK Singh, who's currently a member of parliament with your party, who actually spoke about terror cases and the links with individuals who are associated with the RSS. He's on record saying this.
Barkha, whatever he was saying in the capacity of Home Secretary, it is for him to reply, but you can understand. The 2006 Malegaon case was there. Till 2014, their government was there. For 8 years, what they were doing? If they were having such a concrete proof, why they have not charge sheeted?
So you
are saying that right now
are
they
you
are
calling these fabricated cases? Are you going so far as to preempt the court and say these are fabricated cases, Sudhanshu Trivedi?
No. I am talking politically. On the technical aspect, the lawyers will say whatever is technically available.
Okay.
Politically, what I am trying to say, that the entire premise that you are making someone accused and not able to charge sheet over the years, whether it is the case of Asimanand, who was charge sheeted in 2011, whether it is the cases of
so let me bring in the Congress now. Let me bring in the Congress now.
So it all creates a deep suspicion about the attitude of Congress when you look in the backdrop of Rahul Gandhi Chidambaram's statement.
Javi Shergill, the fact is that Digvijay Singh today says in a rather curious statement that actually BJP leaders were trying to negotiate with us to go slow on these cases, and he even says that a BJP leader went to Manmohan Singh. The fact of the matter is Digvijay Singh never said this before. He's never disclosed this before. If the Congress was in possession of this information that the BJP was on the defensive, why did you not go public with it? What were these so-called secret negotiations about? And the fact that these three witnesses now in particular are talking about Colonel Purohit's innocence does create a problem for the Congress, which went so big on what it calls saffron terror.
Barkha, I'll separate the wheat from the chaff. Firstly, Congress party strongly objects to this term of saffron terror.
You object to it?
I object to it, and I'm candidly saying.
But you remember your own Home Minister's statements, Mr. Shinde, who spoke about RSS running terror camps, and he had to withdraw it after there was an uproar in Parliament. So, you know.
You're right. Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad clarified that in the Parliament in reply to Mr. Rao.
Okay, but on the specifics.
On the specific now. Now, Barkha, there are three aspects. One is of the witnesses, one of Mr. Digvijay Singh. What is the hurry? Why is BJP behaving like Pakistan?
What do you mean?
I'm explaining. BJP is behaving like Pakistan. They are trying to give a clean chit to the terror accused before the conclusion of the trial. What is the difference between them and the Pakistan army or Pakistan government?
They would argue you did the opposite by naming people guilty without giving them a chance to establish
Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi answered only politically. I will answer both politically and legally.
Okay, quickly, I want to go to Rana now.
Why is BJP trying to politically hijack ongoing judicial process? Was Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi present on the crime scene, or was Javeer Shergill present on the crime scene to say Colonel Purohit is guilty or not? Question number one. And Barkha, don't you find something mischievous that all the witnesses who have turned hostile have an affiliation to RSS? I have a list. Randhir Singh became a minister after he turned hostile in the Ajmer blast case. Is that a coincidence? No. The focus of the government seems to be this. To please their political masters, they are trying to take sides in an ongoing judicial process.
Okay, I'll get Sudhanshu to respond to that in just a moment. But Rana, you have made the point that there are audio tapes, there are videotapes, there is a laptop that has recorded evidence. But Colonel Purohit and his lawyers have always argued that, look, I was a military intelligence officer. I infiltrated these groups. So, of course, I was there. And, of course, I was playing a part. But that does not implicate me. And it would seem the NIA believes that as well, because there is no mention of this colonel in the Samjhauta charge sheet, and of course the Malegaon charge sheet is still to even surface.
I don't understand, Barkha, why is truth becoming a casualty in this political tug of war in two cases which are of great significance. Let us not forget, and I hope that the BJP will remember the contribution of ATS chief Hemant Karkare, who was there was almost a witch hunt against him by the RSS and the Shiv Sena, calling him names and calling him traitor, when all he said, and he had evidence against the right-wing organizations of their involvement in the Malegaon 2008 blast. And amongst the other evidence that Hemant Karkare and his team had in the charge sheet, there is a small snippet, there is a small conversation which I would want to read out for some clarity that the BJP might want to, shed some light on. Colonel Purohit says that Lieutenant Colonel Dhar, who is also, there are about 6 people, including Colonel Lajpat Prajwal, and Mr. R.P. Singh is heard talking about King Gyanindra's closest relative sat with us in Gorakhpur. We are constantly in touch with them. Major Prayag Modak was the one who came to our meeting. Lieutenant Colonel Purohit, he has been with the army. We have done 2 such projects in the past, 2006, 2008.
But Colonel Purohit is making the argument that this was my role as a military intelligence officer. That is his argument repeatedly. In fact, in his letter to Manohar Parrikar this month, he actually says that there are 14 reports I initiated on my different infiltrations into groups like Simi, into other Maoist groups. That's what his letter claims. So Rana, quickly, how would you rebut that before I go to Milind Joshi Rao?
But here again, Barkha, he is in conversation. If he was really a military intelligence officer who was carrying out a covert operation, why is it that he did not cooperate with the ATS? Why is it that he was making calls to Pragya Thakur when Hemant Karkare was actually making inroads into the investigation? Why didn't he go and tell the ATS, listen, I have been collaborating with these people, and this is the truth.
Let me get Milind Joshi Rao in. Let me get Milind Joshi Rao in. Milind Joshi Rao, you represent the Abhinav Bharat, which is at the center of this entire storm. Now, even when Colonel Purohit says he tried to infiltrate your organization, it doesn't necessarily give your organization a clean sheet. In fact, it suggests that he was trying to find out what was going on within the Abhinav Bharat. How do you see the turning hostile of these three witnesses, Captain Nitin Joshi's account, Yashpal Badana's account, RP Singh's account?
Ma'am, first of all, these two gentlemen, Mr. RP Singh and Badana,
yes,
they have turned so-called hostile day before yesterday or maybe 15 days back or so.
Yes.
But so long as I know, most of these witnesses in Malegaon 2008 blast case, they have retracted their statements right in 2008. They were coerced and they were made to make statement in front of the magistrate. Within a week or so, they again reapproached the magistrate, and at that instance itself, they have retracted the statement. So there is no question of that. The retractions are happening right now. It has been happening since 2008. It is the conscience of the members of Abhinav Bharat which made them retract the statement, which were given under a pressure, under the duress. Now, so long as Miss Ayub is concerned, she is quoting the telephonic experts.
Yes, she's quoting from the tapes, Milind. Yes, she's quoting from the tapes. Go ahead, Milind.
Yeah, she's been quoting about the tapes. Now, what we understand, first and foremost thing, Colonel Purohit was part of Abhinav Bharat. He was one of the founder members of Abhinav Bharat. Now, you don't found or you don't organize an organization, you don't make an organization to infiltrate into it. So there was no infiltration into Abhinav Bharat. Yes, there were attempts of infiltration into Simmi, Indian Mujahideen and all these jihadist group, but that is probably the principal work of Abhinav Bharat which we have been doing since 2004. So there is no infiltration by Purohit into Abhinav Bharat. He was very well part of Abhinav Bharat.
Barkha,
Third, about the telephonic
Colonel
discussions between Purohit and Sadhvi and Asimanand.
No, but the point, Rana, is the case has to stand up in court. I know. 1 minute. I want to get Sudhanshu in, but Rana, just a quick point to you. The case has to stand up in court. So now, if you have Yashpal Badana, for example, saying that the ATS basically told me that if I don't give this testimony, I would also be named as an accused. You have Captain Nitin Joshi, who's already come up with this representation. How will this case stand in court then, Rana?
By that yardstick, by that yardstick, every criminal investigation in this country in which the trial is yet to begin will fall into pieces, because most of the witnesses in most of the cases, when the cases drag for years, witnesses turn hostile for all practical reasons, because governments change, because regimes change. I remember in 2011 when I produced these tapes for the first time, then ATS chief Mr. Raghuvanshi, KPS Raghuvanshi, clearly told me that they could not carry on the investigation in a free and fair manner, because there was always a military intelligence officer monitoring their investigation, and there was a clear involvement of military intelligence and army along with Abhinav Bharat in Malegaon blast 2006 and 2008. This is KPS Raghuvanshi on record.
Sudhanshu Trivedi and Javeed Shergill, the fact of the matter is the terror conversation has become so politicized between the two of you. I'll come to you, Milind Joshi Rao. Sudhanshu Trivedi, please, your response, and then I want to play out Kiran Rijiju and what he's saying on this. Yeah, go ahead, Sudhanshu.
Actually, you have said very well, Barkha, that this is going so much politicized, because technically now I am responding to Mr. Javeed Shergill. In 2013, in Malegaon blast, your government has decided that you will not oppose the bail of those who are Muslims accused, but you will oppose the bail of those who are Hindu accused. Why you are taking such a religious line? Either you should allow, this is a Rohini Sangwan's written statement. So this shows that you are having a deliberate political line in this context, either you should allow each and every to be in the jail and let the court decide, or you should allow each and every accused to go on bail and then let the court decide. But this type of statements and writings on
brief
introduction.
Sudhanshu ji, Rana ji, just give me 30 seconds.
One more thing. Why in all the cases, forget about the Indian agencies, FBI's input, whether it is Ishrat Jahan case or Samjhauta case, suddenly during the UPA government, your investigation goes in one direction and suddenly it goes back. And foreign agencies are saying one thing.
Sudhanshu ji, BJP, Rana ji, please give me 10 seconds. I have not got opportunity. BJP has a track record of linking religion with terror and not vice versa. Have you forgotten in a mock drill? I did not object. Have you forgotten in a mock drill you showed members of Muslim community a terrorist? Point number one. Point number two, Barkha, I have a judgment of the Supreme Court. Sudhanshu ji, 2014 7 SEC 716, para 225, Supreme Court of India says BJP, Gujarat police under BJP government is in the habit of framing innocent people. BJP has a track record of framing innocent people, not Congress party. Number three, since you're talking about NIA and charge sheet, 2 years your director has been power. Why after 2 years he's saying Colonel Purohit is innocent? Was he sleeping for 2 years?
No, but
Number
Colonel
two,
Purohit
NIA failed to...
But Colonel Purohit was not named in any
One
charge
second.
sheet.
No, that's a... If that is the case, if that is the case today there, how is BJP giving a character certificate to Colonel Purohit before conclusion of legal trial?
Question to Sudhanshu Trivedi. Rana, what is your question to Sudhanshu? 1 minute. Rana, what's your question?
Don't behave like Pakistan. Pakistan also
says... BJP... Yeah. What's your question, Rana?
नहीं पाकिस्तान से तो आपके यहाँ के लोगों के बड़े अच्छे रिलेशन।
अरे बिरयानी आप खाते हैं हम नहीं।
अरे सुनिए, आपके जाके सलमान खुर्शीद और मणिशंकर अय्यर कहते हैं कि मोदी को हटाओ पाकिस्तान में जाके।
कर्नल महादित की चिता अभी जल रही थी जब आपके प्रधानमंत्री बिरयानी खा रहे थे नवाज शरीफ की शादी पे। याद रखिए ये बात।
पाकिस्तान से
I am not going to interrupt here. No, Javeer and Sudhanshu Trivedi. Please, 1 minute. Let's come back to what we're talking about. Rana, you very pointed question for Sudhanshu Trivedi. What is it?
Yeah. Sudhanshu, you are somebody who makes a lot of sense, especially amongst most of the spokespersons that we come across. So I'll ask you a very pointed question. Your party, when it was in opposition in parliament, created a huge ruckus about how a martyr like Hemant Karkare, was just sent to the field, the battlefield. I want to know from you, a martyr like Hemant Karkare, who was defeated by you. Are you casting aspersion on his investigation when he said that the Malegaon 2008 blast was done by Abhinav Bharat and Colonel Purohit and Sadhvi Pragya Thakur being the main accused? Are you suggesting Sudhanshu here that Hemant Karkare had ulterior motive?
Rana, that's a leap, but I'll let Sudhanshu answer it. Sudhanshu, quickly
Rana,
answer that.
you have done so many good investigation on this.
Ma'am, I would like to answer to that.
Yeah.
Up till now, the Hemant Karkare is no more right now. But Digvijay Singh on record has said that Hemant Karkare talked to him before he died, and he keeps on talking to him on terror. It is on record, Digvijay Singh. So then ask the Congress party and Digvijay Singh what was the views of Hemant Karkare, because they are the only living person who can give a testimony. Hemant Karkare was having in mind.
Milind Joshi Rao.
Ma'am, I want to speak on Mr. Hemant Karkare.
Now in the Ishrat Jahan case, hold no look.
No, 1 minute. Let's not go into Ishrat Jahan. That's a whole separate discussion. Milind Joshi Rao, go ahead.
Ma'am, I want to speak on Mr. Hemant Karkare. I have a first-hand experience with Mr. Hemant Karkare during the period of interrogation, which I was a part of it. I was detained. I have met Mr. Hemant Karkare several times. And Mr. Digvijay Singh, in his statement, when he said that there are some Hindutvawadi elements which are, dhamkofying Hemant Karkare, at that time, actually, it was Mr. Hemant Karkare who was being pressurized by the Congress government to put in more and more Hindu people into this case. We have witnessed him under duress. There was a specific target of arresting at least 20 people in this Malegaon case, out of which 5. I have a first-hand experience. None of these panelists have been involved into the investigation. I am the only one over here.
Waiting for the outcome of the legal verdict is my question to Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay,
why are you in so much of hurry to give them a clean chit?
Do you really believe
why
that
is BJP in such a tearing hurry to give a clean chit to terror
ma'am, do you
before a
really,
legal
anybody
verdict is
of this
out?
panelists
That
believe
is a larger question
that Mr. Hemant Karkare, who was an IPS officer and a prompt IPS officer, was afraid of Hindu elements?
I'm just going to interject all of you. I think Hemant Karkare is no more, and let's talk about him with some sensitivity and some care, whether it's Digvijay Singh or anybody else. All of us should do that. Kiran Rijiju, I put this question to him. What is the government's assessment of this case? And let's listen to what he said. Mr. Rijiju, we have seen a statement from the Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar today saying that all documents that Colonel Purohit needs for his trial will be provided to him. What is your assessment as Home Minister about Lieutenant Colonel Purohit?
I see in this case I'm not in a position to make any specific comments because I am from the ministry and I am in the know of the things, how the things are moving, and we are confident of the investigating agencies for getting into the bottom of the case. But what can I can tell you, Barka, at this stage is that we will allow our investigating agencies to conduct the entire process of in the case with full independence and without interference from the government. We are very hopeful that the NIA's level of proceedings in the case is quite satisfactory, and we are hopeful that those who are innocent will not be punished unnecessarily, and those who are guilty will be brought under book.
But Mr. Rijiju, I have here before me two different reports of the Mumbai Mirror. One dated April 7, 2016 actually talks about how shockingly key witness statements, 7 of them went mysteriously missing from the NIA court. These were all made before a magistrate and therefore were admissible as evidence. And that same month, April 21st, you suddenly have 2 of these witnesses whose earlier statements have gone missing, now retracting their statements, saying they were made under pressure and giving a clean chit to Colonel Purohit. So people could say that that is suspicious that both of these things happen in the same month.
In the initial stage, when the investigating agencies identify and catch the eyewitness, then you can say that there are certain roles being played by the agencies. But once the witnesses are identified, the investigating agencies have no role to play on that. They cannot catch on the witnesses. It is between the court and the witnesses to deal with the whole issue, and even the expenditures of the witnesses are borne by the court. So at this point of time, there is no role whatsoever for the agencies to influence or to motivate any of the witness. So this kind of politically motivated charges are totally false, and it doesn't hold any water.
All right, so the government disassociating itself from those missing witness statements, saying it happened in the court, the government had nothing to do with it. We have time only for last comments, 30 seconds each. Milind Joshi Rao, your last comments.
Ma'am, we have been maintaining that we have been innocent since 2008. This has been framework of Congress government to induct Hindus into it so that they can tag the line as saffron terror. We were working against the jihadi groups against this. Colonel Purohit was working against the jihadi groups working against India. So we are innocent. That's my last comment.
Javir.
BJP
I'm coming to you, Rana. I'm coming to you.
Stop putting a question mark on the wisdom of the judiciary of this country. It will shake the faith of the people in judiciary. Second, please stop looking at terror cases through prism of religion. Political parties have to be united in this fight.
Rana, one of the things that Colonel Purohit has said in his letters and his supporters say is that the NI chief made a trip to the United States of America to further probe whether the LET actually had links with Samjhauta, which was the first theory, and Arif Kasmani and all the rest of that. So do you believe that given all these contradictions, this case can stand in court?
Barka, I'll make 3 very simple points. One, Colonel Purohit was not siphoning off RDX and giving it to Abhinav Bharat for charity. That is something he has himself confessed. That is something, there are statements of various co-accused in the case.
Okay.
Statements of at least 3 army men who have corroborated that he was siphoning off RDX and giving it off. Second, Hemant Karkare, on the day he was martyred, gave an interview to NDTV on record and gave an interview to me when I was employed with Tehelka, stating that there was absolutely no political pressure on him and that he was under immense pressure to, not act against right-wing groups, and that he had acted only on the basis of evidence that was there in this.
Okay.
I would suggest that let not truth be a casualty in a political tug of war between the BJP and the Congress.
Okay.
Let the investigation, let the trial begin in the case. Yeah.
Okay, Sudhanshu Trivedi, that seems a fair point, that the BJP should not be preempting the court, just as the Congress should not have done it when they were in government, nor should you do it now. Political parties are nobody to issue certificates of guilt and innocence.
Definitely no party should give any such certificate. As Rana was saying, that there should not be a casualty to the truth, but the things which are coming through RTI, even to the international agencies, or even the proceedings of the court, it is proving that the truth was casualty for the sake of vote bank politics. I would like to say one sentence in Hindi कि जो कुछ इन्होंने किया है देश की सुरक्षा के साथ खिलवाड़, कि अंग्रेजों ने हमको बांटा, फिर भी अपने देश की खातिर इन्होंने हर परिवेश को बांटा कुर्सी के उद्देश्य की खातिर, कम से कम नेशनल सिक्योरिटी तो छोड़ दिया होता.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. This is an ongoing debate, and one of the key questions we actually need to address is that these blasts of Malegaon took place in 2008. In 2016, we don't even have a charge sheet. So, that in itself, I think that the delay of it points to and raises questions about whether the truth will actually ever be established. It's been 8 years, and that's something to leave you all with tonight. Rana Ayub, Javish Shergill, Milind Joshi Rao, and Sudhanshu Trivedi, thank you for joining us on the Buck Stops here.